force measurement instrument, where we discuss the direct and indirect kind of measuring instrument. As you know very well, earlier we discussed regarding force measurement where load cell is there, cantilever beam, proving ring, and different kind of transformer are we are used or we are studied in the previous lecture. This is some previous classification of force measurement where we discuss about the scale and balancing principle, elastic force meter, and load cell. In the scale and balancing, we are discussing about equal arm beam balance method, unequal arm beam balance method, multi-lever platform scale, and pendulum scale, right? And in that we talk about measurement of force, where springs, cantilever beam, proving ring are the very basic instrument to measure the force. At the end, the third method, very important, that is strain gauge load cell, hydraulic load cell, and pneumatic load cell. These three are working as per their name. Strain gauge is work based on Wheatstone bridge circuit, while hydraulic load cell is work based on the hydraulic principle, while pneumatic load cell is work based on pneumatic principle, while LVDT is based on the principle of displacement. These are the some content because this is very important. Already I discussed these all things initially. So the range is important, as I discussed earlier, and the limitation and advantages are very important. So sometimes it may ask in your exam regarding that. So you have to remember. Today I discuss about torque measurement instrument. Before starting the lecture, into radius. But when we talk about the power, then the power unit P is equal to 2 pi nt by 60. That is, we are getting in the watt, right? So if it may be in kilowatt, then 60,000 is there. So if we are finding the torque, then we directly measure the power also. Okay. So that is the main advantage to measure the power or torque. If we have measured any one thing, the another quantity we are getting with the help of another equation. Power is defined as the rate of doing work, and which is equal to the product of the force and linear velocity, right? That we know very well. And the measurement of power involves the measurement of force, as well as that force or torque is measured with the help of a dynamometer. Okay, and the speed measured with the help of tachometer. You have to remember that the force we are measured with the help of dynamometer, while the speed we are measured with the help of tachometer. Okay, sometime it may be asked in your exam regarding the instrument which are preferred to measure the force and speed. Now, classification of torque and power. Mostly, the classification of torque and power can be measured with the help of absorption type dynamometer and transmission type dynamometer. Now, the name is why the name is absorption type dynamometer, because the energy, whatever the energy produced by the engine, is absorbed by the frictional resistance of the brake and finally transform into heat. That is why it is called as the absorption type dynamometer. When we talk about the transmission type dynamometer, the energy is not wasted in friction, but energy is conveyed to the surrounding in a useful mechanical or electrical one. It is called as a transmission type dynamometer. So based on that, we are defined or we are derived in two ways. When we talk about the absorption type dynamometer, then Prony brake, Rob brake, hydraulic dynamometer, eddy current are come in the picture. While we talk about the transmission type dynamometer, then the principle are exactly applying to the epicyclic trend dynamometer, belt transmission dynamometer, torsion dynamometer, and strain gauge dynamometer. So these are the basic classification of dynamometer. Now start with one by one dynamometer. So it's very common for all. As you see in the diagram, the first one is a block type or Prony brake dynamometer. This is absorption type of dynamometer. And you can just see the figure. Here, I just zoom the figure so it's very clear in your mind that yeah, you can see in here that there are two wooden blocks. This is first and this is second. Okay, which are mounted diametrically opposite on flywheel. You can just see in the figure here two wooden blocks are given to you, which are mounted on a flywheel, which is attached to the rotating shaft. You can just see in here, this is the rotating shaft whose power is to be measured. We have to measure the power of this shaft. The pulley is attached with the shaft, and we are fixing the two blocks of wooden block with the pulley. One block carries a lever arm, and arrangement is provided to tie the rope which is connected to the arm. Okay, one, you can just see here, one block is attached with the lever arm, and at the end here the weights are there with the help of counterweight. Initially it may not in the horizontal position, so we have to keep it in the horizontal position with the help of using the counterweight. We have to attach the weight, based on that it may maintain the position in the horizontal way. So still until it may not arrange or not get in the horizontal position, we have to arrange the counterweight. This is the spring and nut is given because whenever the pulley may start to run, definitely this block may not join itself. To join properly and tighten properly, that's why we are we are providing spring and nut which can maintain the proper tension and yes, we are get the proper result. Right now we are focusing on the system that what we have to do. We have to find the torque. We know the equation that torque is equal to force into radius. Here in place of force, we are use the weight which we are attached at the end of the lever. Okay, so whatever the weight that you have to calculate and the distance here in place of r and the distance in place of r, it may be the distance from the center of the weight to the center of the shaft. Okay, so both are known for us, so we are finding very easily the torque. Now we have the equation that we know very well, that P is equal to omega into T, where omega is equal to 2 pi n by 60. We put the speed in the equation. We have the T as we find from the above relation, that is force into radius or W into L. So we are get the result, and based on that we calculate both power and torque from this arrangement, which is known as a block type or Prony brake type of dynamometer. Okay. If we talk about the advantage, then the Prony brake is inexpensive, but it is difficult to adjust. If we talk about the cost, then as discussed earlier, less cost. Construction is somewhat very easy, suitable for measurement of small power. Okay, you have to remember it is used only for of, then it is called as a rope brake dynamometer. I just zoom the figure so it's very clear that how the functions are performed by rope brake dynamometer. It consists of one, two, or more ropes wound around the rim of the pulley of the flywheel, which is key to the shaft of an engine. The upper end of the rope is connected to a spring balance, while lower end carries a dead weight. You can just see the figure. It is very clear in the figure. So to avoid the slipping of the rope, we are arranging 3 or 4 types of wooden blocks, so it may not slip and it may maintain the friction in proper way at the circumference of the pulley. Due to the friction between the rope and drum, high amount of heat is generated. So the pulley is provided with internal flanges on the rim. It forms a channel for the flow of water to cool the pulley and drum. These dynamometers are commonly used for the absorption of wider range of power. We have this kind of arrangement in our laboratories, so we definitely show you that arrangement. Now talk about the equation point of view. As you can see in here from the data, you can see in the figure that W is the suspended weight or dead weight, while S is the spring balance reading. Same way, D for the diameter of the pulley, while small d is the diameter of the rope. Okay, so we are get the effective radius is equal to capital D plus small d divided by 2. Initially, we have to find the effective radius. Then we are find the torque with the help of equation, that is tangential force into radius of the wheel. In the tangential force, we are considered that W minus S, where W is the weight at the end of the rope and S is the spring balance reading, and R effective. So based on that, we are finding the torque. That torque we are put in the equation of brake power, and we are get the brake power W minus S into R effective. Now, the range of the rope brake dynamometer is from 75 to 36,800 watt. You have to remember that, and just up to 4,000 RPM speed, it may very easy to, or it may very easy to use. So you have to remember the range and the speed. Definitely, there is some advantages like it can be used for we are just already conclude that the range, so wide range of there, more suitable than Pronibric dynamometer, because we know that there is less range for Pronibric dynamometer. So, and advantage like it can be used for the long test with little overheating without requiring adjustment. So that you have to remember. And disadvantages like cooling system is required here, and less accurate because of coefficient of fluid dynamometer. In hydraulic dynamometer, it is in the simplest form, which act as a water brakes. This is a power sink. Here, how it may work? This in here, power sink is there, which use fluid friction for dissipation of the input energy and thereby measure the input torque or power. The capacity of hydraulic dynamometer is a function of two factors: speed and water level, right? Speed and water level. The power consumed is a function of cube of speed approximately. You remember that whatever the power we are consuming here, that is the cube of the speed approximately, and the torque is measured with the help of reaction of arm. The power absorbed at a given speed may be controlled by adjustment of the water level in the housing. I just zoom the figure so you understand the construction very clearly. The torque is measured with the help of this reaction arm. Okay, with the help of reaction arm, we are measure the torque. The power absorption at a given speed may be controlled by adjustment of the water level in the housing. We have to manage the adjustment of the water level. Definitely, there is some gauges are already there, either at the output side or at the input side. So it may be control whole system. This type of dynamometer may be made in considerably larger capacity than the simple Pronibric, because the heat generated can be easily removed by circulating the water into the out of the housing. That you have to remember. So that is the good advantage if we consider about the hydraulic dynamometer. We just see the cross section of hydraulic dynamometer. Now eddy current dynamometer. It is sometime asked in the exam, so it is also important. You can just see the figure. So from the figure, it consists of stator on which are fit a number of electromagnets and a rotor disc made of copper or steel, which is coupled to the output shaft of the engine. You just see the figure, so it's very clear. And from the figure, I explained regarding the working of eddy current dynamometer. When the rotor rotates, eddy current are produced. When the rotor rotates, eddy current are produced. in the stator due to magnetic flux set up by the passage of field current in the electromagnet. These eddy current are dissipate in producing heat. So this type of dynamometer requires some cooling arrangement, right? It requires some cooling arrangement. That's why the arrangement is given in the diagram. The torque is measured exactly as in other type of absorption dynamometer. Okay, we have to measure the torque in the which what we discussed in the previous method. The load in internal combustion engine testing is controlled by regulate the current in electromagnets. Okay. Advantage, if we talk, then high brake power per unit weight of dynamometer. It has no intricate rotating parts, as you can just see in the diagram. No natural limit to size. Relatively high torque under low speed condition. If we compare with the raw brake, then we have to reach up to 4,000 rpm. While the talk about the eddy current, then if the speed is less, still we reach up to the good power. So whenever this kind of condition is there, on that time we have to go for the eddy current dynamometer. There is some disadvantages like not suitable for large area. Only it may be effective on conductive material. You remember that only effective only in the conductive material. Signal interpretation are very important in eddy current testing. This is some cross section and some working figure for your understanding point of view. Range, you remember that up to 6,000 rpm and 250 kilowatt. It may helpful to use eddy current dynamometer. Now, next one is torsion bar dynamometer. Already we discussed about the tension bar in the elastic meter. So the principle is somewhat exactly like that. You can just see here the arrangement of mirror are there, light source are applying on torsion bar, and based on optical principle we are get the deflection and we are get the result of torque. Optical method of deflection measurement are used in torsion bar dynamometer. The relative angular displacement of the two sections of the torsion bar can be read from the calibrated scale because of the stroboscopic effect. A line of transmission dynamometer is based on the principle available in the range of 50,000 rpm with the error is plus or minus 0.25%. Okay, so this is the advantage of torsion bar dynamometer. By replacing the scale on disc 1 and 2 with sector disc and employ an electro-optical transducer in place of the human eye, a version with electrical output may be obtained. For zero torque, the sector discs are positioned to give a 50% light transmission area. You have to remember that if the zero torque is there, then the area may be somewhat lighter. Okay, so these are the basic important dynamometer which are used to measure with the help of this kind of instrument. Either it may be the dynamometer or it may be the to measure the power and torque. Now we focusing to start the measurement of strain